Is Half-Life 2 worth all the praise? Better yet, is Half-Life as a series worth the hype? And that's what we'll be answering today in this video. Is Half-Life 2 as good as they say? I mean, for years I've been hearing how Half-Life 2 is one of the greatest games of all time, and I finally have gone around to playing it for the first time and just beat it recently. And I'm going to be giving my thoughts on this game, and at the end, be determining, is this game actually as good as they say, or is everyone glazers? So let's just get straight into the review. Alright, let's start off by talking about the story. I'm going to start off by recounting briefly what Half-Life 1's plot is so we can get an idea of, like, I can kind of make it easier to explain Half-Life 2's plot better. Basically, Half-Life 1, summarized very quickly, is Gordon Freeman works in a lab. In the lab, he ends up opening a portal for an alien world, and then basically the rest of the Half-Life 1 is revolved around closing that portal, which he does. Then he gets recruited by this guy called the G-Man, who hires him and says, go through this portal, you're working for me. And that's the end of the game. And this game basically starts immediately after that, where you are now exiting that portal you entered, with G-Man basically saying, hey, you're needed. Now you're thrown into this city called City 17. And the first thing you might notice is, wow, there's some guards looking cool, got some cool looking masks, bossing me around, forcing me away. Looks like I'm about to be captured or put in prison, until...
You, citizen, come with me. No, I'm good. Back up. I'm gonna need me some privacy for this. Now,
About that beer I owed you. It's me, Gordon, Barney.
You might be wondering, who's Barney? Yeah, that's what I was wondering. And this is where I had my main problem with this game is, and story-wise, is that it introduces characters that we're supposed to know. But to be honest, at least for me, when I played this, and I played this after Half-Life 1, pretty much immediately after, I didn't know who Barney was. I didn't know who half the characters were. Like, I didn't know who Dr. Klein was. And the reason why I say this is because this game basically takes this idea of, like, oh, you know these characters from Half-Life 1, basically hopes and relies on the idea of you kind of building a bond with them so that they can actually, like, be like, oh, look, they're here, and you know them, and you have reason to care about their cause and stuff. And it's like, no, not really. For example, Barney's supposed to be the cop from Half-Life 1. You might be saying, the cop? What do you mean, the cop? No, well, when I say the cop, I mean the only cop, because every cop in that game had the same assets. So then the question becomes, if every cop had the same asset and is allegedly Barney, which one was Barney? Better yet, what about the ones that died? Like, you can't just do that. You can't just throw in a character and be like, oh my god, he's from Half-Life 1, he's the cop, and then expect me to be like, oh, I know which cop you're referencing, when they're all the same character. And people will defend it, but I just can't defend it. I really can't. You know, I don't want to gripe on that too much, but it's just, it is a huge problem, is that a lot of the characters in this game are, they try to already have established bonds with Mr. Gordon Freeman, but me as a player immersed in the world doesn't. Anyways, yeah, so basically you end up meeting Dr. Klein, I believe his name is, and then you end up finding out about Eli Vance, and your goal is to get to Eli Vance's lab to help him out, making resistance, scientific gear. And yeah, that's another thing, is basically there's a war going on between the Combine and the Resistance. Basically, the Combine are the aliens that have escaped through a portal. I don't really fully understand it, but from what I understand, they got through a portal somehow, and they're basically really powerful aliens that just have so much better technology than everyone on Earth. But the thing is that Earth, humans may teleport technology that aliens don't have, so that's the only reason why they're here. Is because they want that teleportation technology, but they can't find it, which is why they're ravaging through our cities, right? And honestly, I think this is such a cool plot, but the way they execute it is a little questionable, but we'll get to that. I really do like this idea, though, that the aliens are here for one purpose, And once they get their purpose, in theory, they'd just be leaving. Dr. Kleiner throws you into a teleportation beam, and it doesn't work. It's supposed to send you to Eli Vance. It doesn't. Now, you have to go by foot and go to Eli Vance's lab. You basically are getting chased by the Combine the whole time because they're after you for escaping their grasp, I guess. Eventually, you do get to Eli Vance's lab, and of course, you barely even get to know him or talk to him before, things go bad. But no, this is another point. So basically, get to Eli Vance's lab, and what happens? Instead of building a bond with Eli, they're focused on building the relationship between his daughter and Eli, but they do it so briefly that it doesn't matter. And why do they do this? Because literally moments later, the Combine raids the entire compound, and Eli is gone. And oh my god, Alex wants you to go find him because she loves him so badly. And it sounds like I'm being cruel because, wow, you're just not empathetic at all. No, it's just that I never really got enough time to really formed a bond with these characters. And that's my gripe with video games in a whole, is that they usually do this problem where they don't really allow us to bond with characters or get to know them. I mean, this game, it's literally just so apparent because, like, I barely got to see Eli at all, and now I'm supposed to be like, oh my god, he's gone. Oh, I'm not. I didn't really care that deeply. Like, I was way more interested in, like, finding out who this Dr. Wall's Breen guy is, who keeps showing up all over the place talking about you can't reproduce. I was so much more interested in that. Basically, the rest of the game revolves around trying to find Eli, which I guess is cool enough, but it's like, bro, why is that the main plot point? Finding a guy I barely know. Anyways, eventually, you're almost on his tail, but oh, he's gone. I mean, you do even meet up with him in this place called Nova Prospect, which is like a prison. But he gets away, oh no, and now you know where he's being sent. He's being sent towards, like, this, like, tall tower in the middle of City 17, where all this stuff is going on with the Combine. And then eventually, you break out, and you're about to go in, and oh, looks like there's a revolution forming. All these humans, these citizens are sick and tired of being under Combine control, so they're going to war with them. And so you end up helping out. And eventually, you get into the main Combine compound, searching for Eli. You finally find Eli. Then you're sent up to Dr. Wallace Breen, the main villain of the game. Now, to be honest, I haven't mentioned his name really, but he's kind of a decent villain. I think the problem with him is a lot of the details. There's a lot of vague things and references to stuff that you kind of have to pick up on to understand what really makes him evil. Because for the most part, yes, he's the face of the Combine, but he doesn't outright say, like, this is my intentions. It's not obvious, is my point. You kind of have to pay attention. For example, you'd have to listen to him, like, rant if you really wanted to. You'd learn stuff like, oh, he wants to make sure humans stop breeding in general. Like, they're banned from doing it. Yeah, it's pretty evil. But then he'll say stuff like, oh, I'm doing it for the better of the human race. And, even when you do meet him, he says stuff like,
having both of you in my keeping ensures I can dictate the terms of any bargain I care to make with the Combine.
Dr. Breen. Wallace.
Yes, Judith, what is it?
The bargain we should be making is for Eli's life so he can continue his research.
Thanks to you, we have everything we need in that regard. You're more than qualified to finish his research yourself. What neither you nor I can do is convince that rabble in the streets to give up their senseless struggle. Yet Eli refuses to speak the words that would save them all.
Save them? For what?
like, it's weird because he clearly cares about humans, but also he, like, is working with the Combine. And there's even a detail that after we, chase down Dr. Breen, that he was briefly, like, in a call or, like, talking to some superior who looks like an alien. Suspicious, right? Like, he's clearly not the head of control. Like, he's clearly working deals with the Combine. So the Combine had control over him and probably brainwashed him even into believing that he's helping humanity somehow. Who really knows exactly how, but it's very clear that he thinks he saved humanity. Obviously he didn't, which just kind of makes him evil, but unfortunately the main problem is we don't really know his intentions. Like, what did he do necessarily? Why did he do it? Why does he think he saved humanity? It's kind of all vague. I'm sure there's details I missed somewhere along the line with that, but, like, I don't know, to me it was all vague, and it makes him hard to be, like, a cool villain. I mean, they still make him a cool villain in the sense that his face is always plastered around City 17, which makes his presence really annoying. Anyways, one of the things he does end up saying before one of his people betray and try to attack him is
Resistance has shown it is willing to accept a new leader. And this one has proven to be a fine pawn for those who control him.
No!
Don't listen to him, Gordon.
How about it, Dr. Freeman? Did you realize your contract was open to the highest bidder?
Gordon would never make any kind of deal with you.
I understand if you don't wish to discuss this in front of your friends.
now you can't throw that line in there and then just brush it away. It just bothers me they brush it away because it's never mentioned in the rest of the game, and it's like, bro, really? Like, that could have explained so much. And this is obviously in reference to the G-Man who basically hired us for who knows what reason, but we can assume it's because someone, paid to get us hired. Who knows if that's even the case. Anyways, you chase Dr. Breen throughout the entire area, and eventually he tries to escape through an alien portal back to the alien world so he doesn't have to deal with us. And we put an end to it, and we get one of the worst endings of all time. The game just freezes time as an explosion happens, and you're just left wondering what happens. And then the G-Man shows up and is like,
Rather than offer you the illusion of free choice, I will take the liberty of choosing for you. If and when your time comes round again. I do apologize for what must seem to you an arbitrary imposition, Dr. Freeman. I trust it will all make sense to you in the course of... Well, I'm really not at liberty to say. In the meantime, this is where I get off.
The big problem I have with this story is that it has a lot of cool concepts. I love the idea of the Combine being an alien force. I love how a lot of the city, there's parts of the city who are ravaged by head crabs, which make things turn into zombies. Really cool concept. You got the idea of like all these people trying to rebel against this alien force. And even just seeing like all these different alien species and all these different people affected by what's going on is so cool. And the biggest part that I think really carries this game story-wise is how immersive the world feels. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, even though the story's not the best way to do it, and especially the ending, in my opinion, is just too big of a cliffhanger to just leave up on, you have to acknowledge that the world feels so immersive that it doesn't really matter. Like, this is one of those games that I got so immersed in that I would actually go out of my way to, like, look at the small details and, like, pay attention to what people are saying and actually, like, explore. Because not only that, but the world is built for it. The developers clearly want you to explore the areas. They leave small details and notes that you can read, and you can, hear on conversations that are interesting. And honestly, I'd much rather have an immersive world than a really good story. Because an immersive world makes a story that's okay, like this game, become 10 times more investing. Now let's talk about gameplay. Now, I think this game also got really good gameplay. It's interesting because even though the story's not the best, the two things this game has really going for it is gameplay and immersivity. So what makes the gameplay so good? For one, the chapters. Basically, this game is split up across 14, 15 chapters, and each chapter, for the most part, is unique. They introduce unique ideas, unique items that you need to use, unique enemies. For example, in the opening chapter, it's all about, the gameplay is about just, getting used to the world and actually viewing it. The second chapter is about running away and getting your first weapons, trying to learn how to, kill the Combine effectively, and the third chapter then takes the whole idea of running away from the Combine and shooting them to, now you're jet skiing basically across these sewer systems to escape the Combine. And the next thing you know, you're chapter 5 and mess around with the gravity gun, which, by the way, super cool. Gravity gun allows for a lot more unique puzzles, in my opinion, and unique interactions. Then one of my favorite chapters, chapter 6, Ravenholm, introduces the idea of hey, there's so many zombies and all these bunch of new zombie types. You even get a shotgun. And I don't know, Ravenholm just is so creepy and just so unique compared to the rest of the game that it makes, and it also helps, make the gameplay spice unique, as for the most part, up to that point, you've only really been fighting Combine, now you're fighting zombies. Then the chapter up to that, now you're going on these desert area where if you touch the ground, these bugs will come out and attack you. And oh, now you're fighting the Combine again, but this time they're stronger and they have like airships to attack. Oh, and it just goes on and on. I'm not gonna go through every chapter, but the point is every chapter, for the most part, introduces a new concept, a new enemy, a new weapon to use that revolves around that, upon building on with the last stuff, and adding things like the gravity gun or the ability to place turrets, for example, or like shooting rockets, adds for so much unique gameplay experiences that you normally wouldn't get. For example, like the Nova Prospect chapter, I think it was, where you raid the entire prison. You literally start off by like having an item that literally spawns in bugs, and they work for you, and you just raid an entire prison of all this top security with bugs. You just get an army of bugs, and you can just control them to do whatever you want. You know how unique that is? And you don't even get to experience that anywhere else in the game. Like, it's just not an option. They specifically made this item, this bug pellet, for that specific reason. And it makes you feel like a boss. That's the thing. It makes you feel great. Like, gameplay-wise, it's got enough variation, and it's really enjoyable to not be problematic. I will admit, if there's one thing I don't really like using the rocket sections all that much, as basically a lot of the rocket sections revolve around you trying to shoot this vehicle of some sort that has way too much HP and dodges you too effectively, with rockets. And the problem with the rockets is not that they're necessarily hard to use, but rather they can get shot down super easily by the vehicle itself. So you have to time it in a way where the vehicle isn't shooting, except the vehicles in these games, especially airships and stuff, will be shooting almost always. So your rocket will just get diverted by the bullets and fail a lot, and it's just kind of annoying. But besides that, I mean, there's not really much to complain about gameplay-wise that I found unfun. There were a lot of highlight moments to me. I just thought of this now. The only thing I really can complain about is, and it kind of kills the replayability, is how they do dialogue. Now, in Half-Life 1, I kind of liked it, where basically they did this thing, and it's the same thing in this game, but there's a huge difference, where the dialogue in the games, both games, basically get told by you walking up to these NPCs and interacting with them, and then they get told, and you learn important information and whatnot. Well, in this game, unfortunately, it's the same case, except now, because dialogue is so much more important and is basically required, they basically make it so you can't progress to the next area until you get through all of it. And so sometimes it just revolves around you standing around for multiple minutes straight, just watching characters talk. It works in some games, but in a game like this, it doesn't. And the reason why is because you can't skip dialogue. You're forced to go through it. So let's just say I want to replay this game. I'm going to have to sit through, for example, the beginning of the Black Mesa, talking, which literally takes like 5 minutes, and it's boring as hell. And even if I wasn't replaying it, on a first playthrough, it can be boring. Like in Black Mesa again, it wasn't that fun to sit there and wait for the interactions to finish and for stupid Eli to stop tinkering with his little experiment for finally for me to actually progress. Like, it's just like, I guess it's cool in the first playthrough, but even then it can drag on a little bit too long because a lot of it's just kind of standing and looking at characters. I don't know if cutscenes would fit this game necessarily because there's not, I don't know, but it's just, I guess the dialogue is it's too long when it does happen, I guess is the best way to describe it. Now let's go into also just graphics, audio. The graphics of this game are mind-blowing. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I don't usually talk about graphics and audio and stuff, but for a game like this that's made in 2004, the audio quality is phenomenal. The graphics look so great. And you have to consider, this was made in the kind of near the end of the PS2 life cycle. And as someone who's played, a lot of PS2 games games recently, it just was astonishing how good it looks. Now, obviously, I get the fact that it was more made for PCs, but even then, wow, it looks so great. It just does. Like, it wowed me for a game made so long ago. I mean, even the audio, I'm gonna be honest, I forgot to mention this in Half-Life 1, but the sound effects in this game, and even Half-Life 1, are just so unique and interesting. Like, for example, when you hit an airship with a grenade or a rocket launcher, it makes the sound effect that I just love with a passion. It's like, oh my god. The Combine soldiers, talking to each other radio constantly. Love it. The way they die is so satisfying, especially the ones with the white mask. It makes you feel like you're actually contributing to their death fully. I mean, the sound effects in Ravenholm that you hear from some of these zombie creatures is very fascinating and helps intensify the atmosphere of like, oh my god, where the hell am I? Overall, I think the sound effects and even the art design, the visuals, they pair well together to make like this game feel consistent visually and just artistically. So yeah, I mean, I'm probably missing details to talk about, but overall, I think this game is pretty good. But is it, top 10 games of all time? Even top 20? No. Is Half-Life as good as they say? Like, I'm gonna be honest, like, Half-Life as a series is just alright. Not, like, insane. I do think it's overhyped in the sense that they love this series so much. The big problem with these games is that they leave a lot more questions. There's still questions from Half-Life 1 that I don't have answers to. Like, why were there people in the Zen planet when I entered it? Why was there dead bodies of workers there? Well, we'll never know. Who's G-Man? Why do you end on the game on a note of basically just like adding more lore to G-Man and answering no questions? Yeah, like, thank you for that. I love it. And, a lot of the storytelling in this game also, especially Half-Life 2 and even Half-Life 1, is vague in the sense that you basically have to explore the world deeply to find it, which kind of can be cool, but it can leave you feeling like you don't understand what's really happening deep down. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I think I understand most of Half-Life 2, but I'm sure there's things I missed. Big details, I'm sure of it. And I tried to actually, explore the world, which is kind of unfortunate. So yeah, I do think this game series and even Half-Life 2 as a whole is a little bit overrated, but that doesn't mean it's bad by any stretch of the imagination. I actually liked it. I found the first playthrough of the game to be magical. I already started playing Half-Life 2 Episode 1, and I will play Episode 2 as well. I might review them, I don't know. I mean, I didn't plan on originally playing them, but because they're kind of lumped in with Half-Life 2, and I want to get all the achievements in Half-Life 2, I kind of have to play them now. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not exactly hyped for Half-Life 3 fully, because it just feels like it's gonna be another game probably of more questions than answers, especially considering that it's been years since they've probably worked on it, actually really sat down and thought about the plot, so they're probably gonna treat it like Five Nights at Freddy's and start making things up. And, the other thing is, it's just also I want to mention that the whole Episode 1 and 2 thing, why is there DLCs that happen or set right after this game? Why? Why not just make a third game? And I'll cover that more when I... Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'll just guaranteed review them. I'll cover that more in there, but, I just thought about it, bro, Episode 1 is set exactly after this game ends. Why? Because it basically is a DLC. It's not a full, game length. So then you start wondering, hello, what are you doing? Why are you putting an ending to a massive game directly into a DLC? Not a big fan of that, but yeah, thanks for watching. If you did like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to check out my Half-Life 1 review, and yeah, peace, man.